Welcome to the Fertility Mind podcast. I am your host, Jessica Friesen, a certified fertility mindset coach, a sound healer, and an international best-selling author. My mission for this podcast is to give you weekly episodes where you hear my own success with IVF and how mindset and manifestation changed it all for me. You will also hear from my guests who share their success stories in the fertility world. I want you to know that you are not alone. Even when things feel tough and when things feel like they aren't going your way, the tools and techniques you will get in this podcast, I know can change everything for you too. So thanks for being here with me today, and let's dive in. Hello and welcome back. Today I have Martina here with me, and we are talking about what she does, and she is a Neuro-Visibility Strategist. And we are going to talk all about how aligning your nervous system and everything can help you manifest your truest desires of having a family. So without further ado, Martina, take it away.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jessica, for having me. And I also want to congratulate your beautiful audience on their impeccable taste to listen to your podcast, subscribing to your podcast, because I have tuned into a couple of episodes and I really love the way how you lead the podcast in your solo episodes or with your guests. So just wanted to mention that before I take it away, as you were already, introducing. So yeah, basically I'm a neuro-visibility strategist, and neuro-visibility is a term I created, and neuro means nothing else than nerves, and that's indicating the nervous system. So I help women of all sorts and ages to become visible in either their personal life, or I work also with entrepreneurs when they lead an online business. So I'm focusing on online business owners, on coaches and healers, but I have also clients who are none of that. They are in corporate or have just, their regular job, and also like moms. And I'm helping them to get, more visible in whatever they play small, basically. Because I do see that so many women have big dreams, and we are coming into an age where many women kind of give up or don't believe as much anymore because, they might have kids and family to take care of, or just saw that nothing really happened in the past couple of years, and they started to doubting that whatever they dream of is available for them. And that's where I come in and, help them to understand what is their nervous system in the first place, because most of us learned that in high school in biology, but that's absolutely not where we are going. It's really about understanding what are my patterns and habits, because that's wired in your nervous system, and how can I do this from the base. So it goes so much deeper than mindset, and that has been so successful with so many of my clients, and obviously it was my own story. And that's what I'm doing. So empowering women to start playing bigger and starting to believe that whatever they set as a goal, or whatever they secretly dream of or fantasize about, is available for them.
That's awesome. I think that's exciting. So if I were your client, for example, and I'm on a fertility journey, what is something what would you start with me if I was just, I've been trying naturally for a couple of years, and I'm now entering a fertility world. I've had, different scenarios gone on, and I'm stressed out. I'm frustrated. I really want to have a baby. It doesn't seem to be working. We're now about to enter the fertility world. What would you start with?
Yeah, very good question. So basically, I would just start with understanding where you are in your life. So, what are your daily routines? Where and what about you are stressed about? Where is the overwhelm coming from? If there is some, but most women have a lot of overwhelm during the days. And just, making you aware of and mapping that out, really understanding, okay, what is the root cause here and where's the stress? Because stress is, and that's also what research confirmed over the years, is there's a root cause. Like stress is obviously affecting fertility, and I mean, new research has confirmed that a population of nerves cells near the base of the brain, they have a specific name, become active in stressful situations, and that inhibits obviously the reproductive systems. So we cannot reproduce at all if we are constantly in fight or flight, or even in freeze. So, and your autonomic nervous system is built with 3 basic pathways of response. So you have the ventral, the sympathetic, and the dorsal. These are the 3 things. And this is also how I start with my clients. I really teach them, because awareness is not only coming from, I explain them how to drop into their body and, how to feel safe sensing what's going on there, but also understanding their own biology. I do feel that we are like running our lives in a body that we don't understand. We only pay attention when we see bodily ailments showing up, or when things are not working out, especially, for women when it comes to fertility. And, whereas we are so in our head all the time and thinking and overthinking, and, maybe also shaming ourselves and self-criticizing, which is all stress, that it all triggers stress in the system. And we move throughout our day from ventral to sympathetic and dorsal. And those 3 states are also basically, triggering specific set of thoughts, feelings, behaviors, and also bodily experiences. So first of all, when I start out with a client, with you, for example, I would just, really explain you the basics, because most of the people don't know. And I always feel like we need to understand first before we are also able to create more awareness around it, and distancing ourselves from the thought that I have no control. I can't manage my own self or my body, right? I'm kind of helpless in that regard. So, and yeah, so basically the ventral is the essential state of well-being, of growth. And that's also where we are also able to, reproduce. Reproduction shuts down once we go into stress. And stress is in the sympathetic activation, in fight or flight. So these are very basic concepts. And this is something that has been in our biology for millions of years, for thousands of years. And in the ventral state, where we are able to reproduce, we feel grounded, we feel also organized and ready to meet the challenges of the day. We feel like, oh, I've got this. And so many women that I work with, and it's been my story, and I'm also working on that every single day. We are not, able sometimes to really, meet the demands of the day, because maybe we have our fertility in the mind, in our mind, because for many years we have been trying, and we are tired of having all the information, because maybe we tried out everything, right? And this also creates so much tenseness in the body. And then the sympathetic is the next step of your nervous system, and this is the state of demobilization. That's also the state where we are able to get energy to move, to either fight or flight. And in this kind of states, we also not able to digest if we are staying in that for too long, because it's never throughout the day we go through the ventral, the sympathetic, and the dorsal state all the time. We go up and down the nervous system ladder, so to speak. And we just have to understand in which state am I in, and the problem is not that I am now in fight or flight, for example, but the problem is if I'm stuck in there. So this stuckness is what creates obviously tension. That's that keeps us small. That's in the way for us to tackle our demands and aim to our goals. So, and this is important to understand, where am I home? So many of the women, and for me it was, I felt home most of the time in fight, right? I was always like on fire and tackled everything, and I've also been like very, very bossy at some point, right? This is this energy of fight, and that's where I've been stuck for most of my time. And we have to understand, where am I stuck? Where, because overwhelm, for example, is already a dorsal response as well. So if I have a lot of dorsal energy, then obviously I need to understand how can I actually, because these are also patterns and habits that are formed that are keeping me more stuck there. And this is normal biology, because we are all shaped in different ways through our childhood, upbringing, and then until we became into adulthood. And then we just have to see, what can I do? So, because this is all not bad, right? This is just biology. And for me, when I understood this is just biology, I also understood there's nothing bad, right? Because nervous system has only one single goal, and that's to keep you safe. That's to protect you. And, being constantly in protection obviously doesn't help you to get pregnant as easily, let's say this way, right? Because it's not that we are in protection all the time. We have good ventral energy also throughout the day, but maybe too little. Maybe we are just, not able to consciously, get ourselves up again to the ventral state. And yeah, again, the disconnect to our body is also, contributing to not understanding what's going on here. And mindset work, and is a beautiful way how to do a lot of things to the better. But I do believe, because your nervous system is triggering the states, the feelings, the behaviors, the actions, the thoughts, and the stories that we have, and we have to go a bit deeper. So
Thank you. I think this is really, really important, because I really like what you said, where you talked about, where home feels. Because for me, when, I was going through things, I wasn't aware necessarily of all the emotions I was going through. I wasn't aware of a lot of my patterns. I was literally just going through the motions, making sure I was checking the boxes. I took my medications at the right time. Um, I had my schedules like all organized. I knew when everything was happening. And I was always in a state of trying to control. And the truth was, I didn't feel like there was anything I can control in my life. So the one thing that I could control was taking my medications, doing all the right things to get pregnant. And even in the state of like controlling what I could control is a form of like overwhelm. It's a form of just, it's not an ease state. It's, I need to control what I need to control so that it works.
Yeah.
And I didn't really, until I started studying mindset and universal laws and really understanding me and my patterns and my way of thinking, I really had no idea that I was constantly in a fight or flight state at all points. And I thought I was, through my whole life, I'm in no way, shape, or form am I complaining. I've had a really good life, but there has been a lot of very high contrast situations in my world. And, I was at a point of I was just kind of existing. But I didn't think that was a bad thing. Like I thought, like I may not be crazy wealthy, but I can pay my bills. I can do things. I've got a house, I've got a husband, I've got at that point, I had 3 stepdaughters, still have 3 stepdaughters, but before my own children.
Yeah.
And I like, you look at the whole picture and you're like, some people might look at my life and be like, you've got it made. But when you're living through that, I wasn't living through the state of I've got it made, because there was so many things going on in my like external environment and in my internal environment. And I wasn't aware of the thoughts that were coming in and out of my head. Like, you know how thoughts just instantly come in, you think them, you feel them, and they're gone. And it's like the blink of an eye. And, I really started to connect my patterns of, when we were trying to get pregnant naturally, every month I was excited. And then if
Mhm.
I didn't feel anything, I thought, okay, well, maybe I'm not pregnant. And when I wasn't pregnant, I was like, oh, and my gosh, like you Google anything and there's a million and
Yeah.
one symptoms. And I think actually when you Google, it's like the top 10 symptoms. And I didn't have any of them. And the truth is, I didn't have a lot of them when I was pregnant with my twins.
Oh,
So,
wow.
like that's the thing. Every person's body is so different. But I turned to Google, I turned to different things to, tell me what I was feeling. And,
Mm.
once we found ourselves in the middle of a fertility world, I felt a whole whackload of different things because I was on synthetic hormones and, just we did medicated cycles, we did natural cycles, we did the whole nine yards, if you will.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until I truly became aware of my thoughts and how often fear stepped in for me. Fear stepped in of, am I spending money for no, like for no chance? Am I, even if we do get pregnant, can we actually really afford this? Because, I'll,
Mhm.
we got a wonderful loan from my father-in-law so that we could pay for fertility treatments because at that time we could not pay for fertility treatments out of
Yeah.
pocket. Like our bank account just didn't have that.
Mhm.
And I know that we were beyond blessed to have that state, but it was looming over us. I had to pay this money back at some point. And,
Mhm.
I'm a person, I don't like owing anyone money. It drives
Yeah.
me nuts. I'm like, okay, before I give myself anything, I'll pay this person back. And like, I just became so aware of my patterns and my thoughts and how negative they were. And how, like, I woke up and I was like, okay, I just got to do this, 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 and this. And I checked all the things off the boxes, but there was no room for gratitude. There was no room to just be excited or feel happy. And until I started understanding mindset and manifestation, and then I have far more control. Whereas I was always just in a state like, no, this is just, unfortunately, this is how it is. And this sucks. Like, it really sucks to go through fertility treatments. I didn't ask for this, and I really started even internalizing me, like my worth and my, just why do I have to do this? I always thought I was a really good person. I love helping people. I love doing all the things. And it started becoming such a personal thing for me, and not even to mention my external environment, my internal environment was just a place of this isn't fair, but I'm going to do what I can do, but this isn't fair. And the thoughts that would be in and out nonstop throughout the day. And, I think I love what you're talking about, your nervous system, because I didn't study nervous system. I really delved into mindset and I used my mindset. And the more that I have conversations about your nervous system, I realized I was balancing it, but I didn't realize I was balancing it. But back to my original point of just the home for me was very much a state of fight and flight, and I didn't realize it. And I don't think a lot of people do. They just try and control what they can, or they try and make the best of every situation when there's still a whole nother amazing universe, if you will. Like, I really, people call me like, they think that I'm silly. They're just like, okay, you live in your own little world. And like, that's okay. I'm going to live in my own little world because I truly, truly believe that everyone is supposed to live this like amazing, extraordinary life. And extraordinary is defined however you want to define it. And, but we don't. We wake up, we do, eat, sleep, repeat. We don't focus on the things that we want. We don't focus on our goals. And whether your goal, like you said, like you deal with high ticket women who want to really like expand their life and start a business or start whatever it is that they want, become their truest self or a better version of themselves, but we give up. And I can't tell you how many people I've seen in the
Mhm.
fertility world give up because it's money or it's worth or it's whatever is going on within them that they start to wish away or start to tell themselves, maybe I'm not meant to have a baby. And I tell them, I know it's really hard. I know that it is so, so hard to hear that you are meant to have the things that you want to hear because right now your world doesn't seem like it is. Nothing seems to be working the way you wanted to or the way you planned it to. And that's why I love how you're talking about the nervous system and mindset and how it does connect to manifestation, because I think a lot of us, even though, high school science is changing, not
Mhm.
to date myself, but when I was in high school, we never talked about IVF or fertility treatments.
Yeah.
And basic health class, they teach you, you get a period, you ovulate, you do this, and that's kind of, they don't go into depth. And I agree. I don't think women really understand their whole entire bodies. And truth be told, I didn't understand that the nervous system goes in and out of three phases all the time. I was just living my life, and
Yeah.
and I think it's wonderful that we have so many different ways to connect to our body. And I think people think that we are 100% our body. And I don't believe that we're 100% our body. I believe that we are spirit in a body.
Mhm.
But we need to figure out how to use this body, how to make it do the things that we want to do, whether it's mindset or understanding your nervous system. I think it's so important that we just connect. So I'm on a bit of a spiritual journey right now. I'm just delving into different things, but the mentor that I'm listening to and learning from right now, he really talks about being present in your body and understanding your energy, understanding your feelings,
Mhm.
and then connecting. And
Mhm.
it's interesting because as soon as I start thinking about something in I say manifesting, I manifested people to come onto my podcast like yourself that talk about the nervous system and being in your body and, understanding what's going on to give yourself that home for pregnancy. Or maybe you are now finally newly pregnant. There is a life after being pregnant too, of having a baby. And once your baby go, like if you stay in the working world, or you want to work from home so that you can still have that flexibility to to do whatever you want with your baby, you can use these tools and techniques to still create this beautiful life. Because I feel like a lot of women that I talk to, when I ask them about their goals and I say, like, what is it that, you want? And they're like, I want a baby. And I say, okay, so you're getting your baby. Bear with me. I know this is hard to hear, but you have your baby. What's next? That's it. They are stuck. It's just, and not stuck is not, I'm not implying that in a bad way, but
Mhm.
that, like, it's just, they're so narrow focused. I just want to have the baby. And I really teach them and say to them, yes, okay. So if we manifest that you're having your baby, and you have this, but you still have this life with baby afterwards. What do you want? How do you see your life with baby? Are you going to be a stay-at-home mom? Are you going to be a stay-at-home working mom? Are you going to, is your baby going to go into daycare at 3, 6, 9, 12 months? And what are you going to do beyond? Are you going back to your regular job? Do you want to start something else? And they can't answer those questions. And I'm like, that's okay. Take time to think about it, because it's more than just, we are so focused on a goal. Whether, whatever your goal is, we're just so narrow focused. Once we get to this goal, then we can dream about something else. Then we can do that. And I just want to say to them, have it all. You can have it all. And, I try and be incredibly tactful with women that are going through fertility journeys, because I can truly contest. I've had
Yeah.
many people say the wrong things to me, and I would go home and cry and be like, that was
Mhm.
so mean. And even
Yeah.
though I know the intention was never be to be mean, it was
Yeah.
just something, like, the worst thing that people said to me, and I think I say this on too many of my podcast episodes, but I think people need to hear it, is the word divine timing. Many people actually, but there was one person that repeatedly said, it's divine timing, trust and believe. And every time I would get so mad. I'm like, okay, that's
Mhm.
not helpful. I've been on this fertility journey for a long time. I don't believe in divine timing. I studied mindset and manifestation. I studied so many different things. I thought, divine timing. Okay. It's actually one of my favorite words now.
Yeah.
So I'm incredibly thankful for this person that
Mm.
truly kept saying it over and over and over again. But I was in a place I couldn't hear those things. I
Of
couldn't,
course.
you know, And I had to really gear myself up to go to baby showers, or when I
Mm-hmm.
saw people posting that,
Mm-hmm.
their pregnancy announcements, I would feel excited for them.
Mm-hmm.
But
Of
there was
course.
still a deep piece in me that I turned into, but when's it going to be my turn? Like when? Because I want to know. I want this crystal ball. I want to know how, when, tell me now. And, even the fact that I was always in that state of control. Just tell me how, just tell me when, and then I'll be happy. But again, that's still not living. That's not in that state of ease and flow. It's in that state of just, okay, I can be happy when I can be.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, what else would you like to add? Because I've just kind of gone on this little rant, but I just feel it's so important for people to know and to hear and understand mindset, manifestation, and understand their nervous system.
Yeah, Jessica, and you have been like touching on so many amazing, points and things. So one of the thing that I wanted to reiterate, because it's so important, is like, that you are not your body, right? So I truly also believe that we have a soul that is, coming, that's in a body basically. And I always see the body as a house that we do life with, right? Where we bear our children, where, we go through life. And it's so important to, first of all, turning on all the lights in the house and discovering all the rooms, discovering what is there, because there's so much beauty once I tune into and really see the house as it is. It's not my enemy. It's not broken. There's always ways where I can, make it more comfortable, make it like more livable. And sorry, my dog in the background. I hope it's not too annoying.
That's
We'll
totally
stop.
okay.
We'll stop. Sorry. So this is really important to understand that this is a body that wants to be taken care of, and you can do that very beautifully. And it's not against you. Your biology is always doing things in your favor, even though it might look from the outside as, it's working against you. And that's, again, a mindset that we have to shift, that we have to, tune out. Because in the end of the day, we have to befriend our own system, like our own house. And it is really hard, obviously, when we see, in the external, that people get pregnant, they're celebrating, they have the babies, and, and it's not working for us, or seemingly not working for us. And here is just like, it puts a lot of pressure, because we go into shame or self-criticism, and again, it's causing us stress. It helps us, not to, live a life of quality, because it's a kind of a vicious loop here. And as you said so beautifully, for some women, they just have this one goal, is getting pregnant and having a healthy baby. And then there's nothing else that they are thinking of that will come after having a baby. And there is so much more, especially for women as well, right? It's not just the baby and as a goal to get pregnant, because what will happen afterwards, what are you then, because we're always looking, to develop, to grow, and to become a better version. And I also always ask clients of mine, what is the reason that you want to become pregnant, right? What is the desire behind? Because there are always the desires behind as well. And for some women, it's just, to have a baby, because, that's the next logical step. And then it's the pressure of, I want to have it right now. And, and then obviously, there's this biological clock ticking, which I sincerely don't believe in, especially not if you're really in tune with your body, because I do believe that we can prepare. I was always, for me, when I was in my early 20s, I always said I want to become a late mom. So I always told myself, I want to be a late mom. I want to live my life. I want to gain experience and more wisdom, and be a mom and settling in there. And for some of my friends, they wanted to become pregnant right away. Some of them became pregnant very early on, some later. And for me, it's like, I always wanted to do certain things before, thinking about it. And, then you come into a certain age and people, pressure, it's like, oh, when are you getting pregnant? Because maybe in my family, I'm the last one. all my friends who have children of their own. There's just a few that decided not to have children. And then there's kind of like this, everyone is kind of looking at you and not asking anymore directly, but there's still this like, okay, when are you next, right? So this looming question. And for me, it's always like where you say like, yeah, it will happen when it will happen, because I also do truly believe in divine timing. And I also know when it comes to manifestation, no matter what you want to manifest, it's never done from lack. It's never done by the pressure, be it money, be it children, or whatever it is. So it is super important. So to understand, I'm not manifesting something where my body is contracted, where I'm in protection, or where it's also maybe unsafe to have the very thing that I want. Mm-hmm. Often we manifest things like, let's say I want to have more money. And then the thing is, logically, that makes sense. But in your nervous system, more money is a very unsafe thing to have. Maybe it's also the same with a child, right? It's a logical desire that you have, right? And something that you truly want to undergo as an experience. But maybe there is something deep rooted as a belief or a story that having a baby can be also unsafe, because money, right? It can be the topic of money. Then maybe, the relationship is not as stable, or maybe where I am at in my life, right? It's not, because I have maybe career goals as well. And maybe the career goals that I have plus having a baby might interfere, right? So there might be many, many reasons why we are not able to manifest or get pregnant. So it's not always that the body doesn't do it, right? It's very often that it's just not safe. So we have to look into patterns, into habits that which are creating stories and beliefs that we are not conscious of. Because as we all know, many, many thoughts and beliefs and stories that are running in our heads all the time are very often also unconscious. We're not aware of everything we think and the story, right? But it's there. So it's really important to look at the whole kind of thing, and not just like, oh, what can I do in order to get pregnant? What are some of the tools, medicine, or ways how to enhance that? But also looking, what is my inner work here? Because that's an important piece that many women forget to incorporate when want to become pregnant.
I love that you touched on so many things as well. I love that you touched on money, because I know for a lot of people in the fertility world, there's such this fear, even if they do have the finances in their bank account to pay for their fertility treatment, it's still a significant amount of money to be paying for something with quote unquote no guarantee. And there's still that amount of like, okay, am I spending this massive amount of money? Even if I have it, it's still like that, the things that I could be doing with that money if I didn't have to pay for a baby, and the resentment attached with that. I love how you touched on biology, because there is this ticking time bomb that people feel that they have. Mm-hmm. And, I'm 100% on board with you, because I know a woman, she got married later in life, and her career was like very, very career focused. And she was in her late 40s when she decided, you know what, I think I want to have a baby. And she had just found her partner, like her life partner. She was very excited. Mm-hmm. And they said, we'll still wait a little bit, because they had some really big things going on in their careers that they're just like, well, one more year. Mm-hmm. She entered the fertility world at 50, and she was pregnant by 51. Wow. And, she had studied mindset and manifestation as well. And that's how she just stayed so focused, because every fertility mm-hmm. clinic that she went to said, you're geriatric, no. And, XYZ, don't hold your hopes high. If you're willing to invest and pay for this, we can give it our best shot, but your chances are really low. And things like that drive me nuts, because, I believe in the body. I believe I've really delved into science part of things. I love Dr. Joe Dispenza for that because he's like crazy sciencey. Um,
Totally.
and I loved like how he talks about how he
Mhm.
completely healed himself
Exactly.
from his mindset and really understanding his neurobiology and
Yeah.
understanding his mind and like things that every doctor said, like you will never walk again. You will not have
Yeah.
any type of life. This is where your life is going. And he just didn't accept that. And that's why I tell all of my clients, give yourself medical amnesia. You're not geriatric if you're starting in your late 30s. And
Mm.
like, whatever that world is for them, that's old science. And I love science. I think science is amazing. It gave me
Yeah.
my three babies. But at the same time, I so believe, science has proven that we are all energy and that energy never dies. So that's when I say, like, I believe that we are energy in our body,
Mm.
that we are here in a physical body experiencing things. But the beauty of it is just, understanding where your mind goes. And, you talked about stressors and things like that. And one of my stressors was I was 28 when I
Mm.
was in the fertility world, when I started in the fertility world. So I was still considered young, not young enough, but young. And the repetitive thought that went through my head was because my husband already had three daughters from a previous marriage, I didn't want this massive age gap between my girls and my kids. And that was a constant pressure for me. So every time, a transfer didn't work, or when we were trying to get pregnant naturally, I just felt that devastation of like, I'm letting them down and it's another month longer before the baby's going to be here, which potentially could be, another year that the girls are older. And yeah, by all means, there was a big age difference between my stepdaughters and my little ones, but it is all worked out. It is all
Mm.
worked out. Like I have from 20 to age 2 in my house.
Wow.
And I get to experience all stages of life
Mhm.
consistently. And but it's a beautiful thing. But when I was in that state of,
Mm.
that putting that pressure on myself of like, I have to do this now, or
Yeah.
there's going to be this, I couldn't see what it would be like if there was a 10, 12, 17-year age difference between my
Yeah.
kids. Because I thought like, oh my gosh, like that's horrible. Like that's not going
Yeah.
to work. Well, it is working and we did it. But I couldn't see past that because I was so focused. I need to get pregnant right now. I need to do this. And, understanding all the things that I know now that I did, I feel like things could have been different. Again, I don't have a crystal ball. I can't tell you it would have been different. But I can tell you that when I really understood mindset and manifestation, and now
Mhm.
what you're telling me and other conversations that I've had about really balancing the nervous system, I know that things were different for my last baby when I really started
Yeah.
understanding mindset and manifestation. The synchronicities that I felt and experienced in that pregnancy versus with my twins was so different. And I let go of the control. And I think that, again, control is, at least in my opinion, is a fight or flight zone. You don't believe that it's going to work, so you need to control it. And
Yeah.
if it's not going to happen in your exact way, then it's just not going to happen. And I love how, just I really do believe that there is infinite possibilities of ways to think. And Joe Dispenza talks about, we only ever live in our 5% of our brain. Like there's
Mm.
95% out there that we're not using because we need to, in our current environment, what we know is what we know. And this is how we can do things based off of what we know. But if you allow yourself to not control, you allow yourself to have faith and believe
Mhm.
and balance your body and watch your mindset, and you will have these intuitive hits
Mhm.
or these synchronicities, and you can see this far better life. And I like how you mentioned manifestation and how you can't do it from a point of lack. That is bang on. You can't
Mhm.
do it from a point of lack because like I ask my clients when it comes to money, I say to them, so what's your fear? And they're like, well, I'm spending a lot of money for no guarantee.
Yeah.
And for the ones that, they are delving into savings or, finding a loan, whatever it is that they can to get to scrimp and save and get this money to, now enter this unknown world, it's exhausting. And then they're just like, I need the money. And I tell them, go to a place of want, not a place of need, and really understand your energy of where you hold that money. Because again, it's that negative, it's that pressure you put on yourself. Like, I need, if I'm going to spend this money, I need to know that I can pay it back, or I need to know that I'm going to have a baby, or, like, just people give up and say, I don't want to take out a loan because it's just a chance that I'm going to have a baby. And they start to wish away their dreams. And I tell them manifestation happens when you are in alignment, when you are in faith, and when you're coming from a place of excitement, a place of wanting, but not wanting in a place of needing. Wanting because I get to have this beautiful life with my baby. And that's why I get them to connect. What would your first Christmas look like if you celebrate Christmas, or your first holiday that you celebrate if, whatever your background is, whatever your culture is. And because things can happen in pregnancies, and people are just so focused, well, I just need to get pregnant first.
Yeah.
Yes, but go to the beyond point as well,
Yeah.
because, it allows your body to become that vibrational match to things and see this beautiful life and allow intuitive hits versus I don't have money, and you stay on that vibration, you stay on that place of I don't have money, and that's, you know what I mean? Like, that's where you stay. And it's the same with your body. You're holding that negative pressure on yourself of, I'm spending a lot of money, or you believe that you've got, your biological clock is ticking, or you think, I know a lot of women that feel guilty for wanting to have a career first. And when I lived overseas, um, I was 22, and everyone that I was spending my time with was, 32 or older. So they were 10 years older than me. And I was so fascinated with how they were living their life. And they weren't even wanting to start to have their kids until they were at least 35. And I thought, like, why so late? But I just watched them living their life, and I thought, okay, I don't need to be 24 and having a baby. I wasn't married at 24. Not that you have to be married to have a baby.
Yeah.
But I was starting to, yeah, at 22, I was really just starting to live my life. And I thought, I really enjoy living my life too. I want to, once a baby does come, things do change. It adds a massive amount of joy. But I feel like so many people forget about themselves in the process. I was one of them. And, and I thought, well, even just having conversations, I had this beautiful conversation with a woman who was very into mindset, very into, like, she was very, like, straight to the point, and, like, she would shoot you down in a very tactful, beautiful way. But she said, so what's one thing you would love to do? And I said, I want to go to Hawaii. And I instantly started listening to myself, because I was like, but, I've got a 1-year-old right now. So to go on a 15-hour flight, or, possible layovers and all these different things, I'm like, I'll probably just do it in like 5 or 10 years. And then I can save money, and I can, maybe have a bigger, better trip then. And she just looked at me and she's like, oh, okay. And I thought, oh God, what did I do wrong? And she just said to me, she said, that's what you're manifesting. She said, I know many people that can be working moms, that have successful lives, that can take a 1-year-old on a flight to Hawaii and do the things that they want to do. And I thought, how do people do that? And she's like,
Yeah.
you manifest it. And I was like, oh, okay. But she was just so direct to the point of just saying, like, be aware of the things that you're saying, and how instantly we say we want something, but we start to, okay, well, maybe in a couple of years, that's okay. And we just wish it away. And I feel like people do the same thing with fertility, that, especially the people that have been in it for a long time, or if money is an issue for them, well, maybe I'll just wait a few more years. It's okay. But while they're going through the day-to-day motions of life, they're feeling guilty. They're like, but I want my baby now. But, I can just save for another year. Then I have more money if it doesn't work. And I tell my clients, listen to your conversation you have with yourself over and over and over again, and only connect to your desires, connect to your goals, connect to your dreams, because that's where it is. That's where it happens. And
Mm,
versus being in the okay, but,
yeah.
because when you stay in that point, the okay, but will go on for another year, 2, 5. Before you know it, you're just like, where did time go? And you're like,
Yeah.
you didn't take action towards your dream. And to me, action can really be understanding your mindset, and understanding where your body is. Are you constantly in a stressed out state? Or are you in a state of needing to control? Or are you in a state with the utmost faith that this baby's coming, or this dream job is coming? I just need to feel love and gratitude right now, and allow and, hear what spirit, God, creator, universe is telling me to connect. Because I do believe in collapsing time. I do believe that, things can happen right away. Some things do take time, but it comes back to that manifesting in a happy state versus a lack state. Because when you're trying to manifest in that lack state, you are in that state of just need and just give it to me now. And you're not on that vibrational match to it. And again, your body's in that like tense state because you don't believe it can happen and you just need it now. And I deal with so many people that don't believe in mindset and manifestation. They think
Yeah.
it's woo woo. They think, they're just like, I'm glad it worked for you, but it's not going to work for me. And I talk to them about their beliefs. I'm like, but that's what you believe then. You believe that it's not going to work for you. And I understand not everyone's going to believe the things that I say, and that's okay. Find someone that you do believe, do whatever you can to get the things that you want. But I do believe understanding your nervous system, or understanding your thoughts and your actions,
Mm,
make the journey far easier, far more enjoyable. And you can also just, you know, it's a state of love and gratitude. It's a state of appreciation, even when you're in the hardest times. And, from someone who went through some really dark, dark periods, there was always something that I could focus on that could get
yeah.
me through the day, the week, the month, the year. And, I didn't always know how to connect to that. But now that I do, I think I want the world to know how they can live a beautiful life and they can have the things that they want to have, even when it's hard to hear that. And I love how you focus on the nervous system, and that you focus on, the 3 levels and how to balance them. So before I go on another rant, is there anything else you want to add?
Oh my God, that was so good. There was so many, like golden nuggets and amazing insights in what you were sharing. And I think what you were mentioning in the beginning is so crucial, right? It's like this, what do I desire versus what do I think I need? Because we are so in our head and thinking, what do I need externally in order for me to feel better? You're right, to feel less stressed, to feel like I'm not overwhelmed anymore and have everything that I want. And that creates an identity of constantly seeking something in the outside and feeling like, oh, once I have my baby, everything will be good. But the thing is that sometimes, even if a goal or desire comes true, that's just a quick, fast cover of something that will pop up again. Because, what is happening after you got pregnant, you have your beautiful baby, right? There's still, I would assume, the void that we tend to fill with whatever we have as goals, right? And if I can't be now fulfilled or content with what I have right now, even though I know, yeah, there are many things I desire, but I'm like, tapping into the gratitude that you were just referring to, right? To be grateful, loving, and if I'm not able to tap into that frequency, then obviously once I achieve something, because you can manifest something, I would say, out of lack, but the thing is that once you have it, it doesn't feel good. because there's still the lack. The lack doesn't go away. It doesn't go away just because I have the very thing that I wanted. Because how often did we achieve something and we felt like, oh, that's been something that we wanted for such a long time. And in a few minutes, hours, or a day or week later, we felt the same void that we felt, oh, that needs to be filled, or why is that coming up, right? So very often we need to see what is inside of us, that, what is the relationship to myself? I think this is also sometimes a good question to listen within and see, like, how am I with myself? Because a baby will make that relationship within myself better. Obviously, when we have children, we can see ourselves in them, and obviously we grow and pain points are coming up, right? And we can use that, obviously, but it's so much more beautiful if I have a relationship within myself and build on that and tap into the compassion, because listening to your body, listening to the nervous system, to your autonomic nervous system that's independent of your thoughts, because it runs independent, is inextricably linked to the need for self-compassion. So you don't need a baby, you need self-compassion. Because if you are self-compassionate, then obviously you can still, of course, want a baby, but it's not this need anymore. Because that love that we feel like that we get from children, or that we can pour, into our children, needs to come first from ourselves, for ourselves, and then pour from there, because it's a so much better place to live from. And I'm tapping less into the need and lack, and more into, okay, my life is good as it is right now. And of course, we can still wanting the things and desiring the things. But again, the need and the lack that creates so much tension alone speaking about it, I feel like already, it's just, I feel like the need for self-compassion is the one need that we need to fulfill before thinking about many, many other things, or do that in parallel at least. Because again, self-compassion brings us back into ventral energy. And from there, obviously, we can grow, we can do the very things that we want to manifest. And bringing that curiosity back to ourselves, and being curious about the thoughts, stories, about the different states that we are in, and staying away from the judgment that we have towards ourselves, and just ignore and understand that our biology doesn't mean that because it's autonomic that we can't do anything against it or for it. Shaping the nervous system is something that we can do, and that's what brings us to a life of well-being. That's where we become amazing mothers. That's where we also become open to receive babies, right? We are fertile, because obviously it makes sense that when the body is constantly in protection, or trying to prevent unsafe situations that we are not open to, the body has no resources to be open for receiving or producing a baby, so to speak, within our own body. And again, self-compassion is the one thing that definitely helps, because very often people ask, like, what can I do, right? And the first thing is like learning to give yourself self-compassion. Is one of the most challenging things that has been at least challenging for me, but the one thing that really helped in the long term. And yeah, I also know that it alleviates the suffering, the pain that we go through in life, whether it be when we are on a fertility journey, or for other things, because life is painful. We have pain, and it's inevitable, and it's okay to have. But how am I with myself when I feel pain, when things are not going the way? Because that's the most important thing. It's not when everything goes well that, because then it's easy to be yourself. It's easy to be kind to yourself. But how are you with yourself when things are not going the way? So I do feel self-compassion is the need that we women really have to tap into. It's a muscle that we have to build.
I love that. I heard a saying a while ago. Someone asked, it was an interview. I was watching an interview, and the gentleman asked the woman. He said, "Tell me all the things that you love." And she was listing and listing. And he said, so when are you going to tell me that you love yourself? And she just
Yeah.
paused. And she goes, well, of course I love myself. And he said, but that's not ever one of the things that you listed.
Yeah.
And she thought about it and she said, okay. And he said, so then tell me what you love about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And like you could just see her cheeks getting red. And she's just like, well, like, I don't know. I love my hair. I love my eyes. I love this. And he said, okay, so that's an external part, but what do you love about yourself? And she couldn't name things.
Yes.
And he went into like in depth, like, do you believe you're strong? Do you love the way you communicate with people, or do you love certain things that you do? And she was just kind of in like this awe state of like, I've never
Mm-hmm.
actually really known or thought about that. And I was so fascinated by that because I thought to myself, I'm like, how do I see myself? And then when I really started studying me, studying my patterns, I realized that I wasn't loving myself. And I always thought that self-care was selfish. And I
Mm-hmm.
always prioritized my children's needs, my husband's needs, everything before my own. And I did go to a place of burnout where I was, crying all the time. I
Mm-hmm.
felt exhausted. I felt like a doormat in the politest way to say it,
Yeah.
because I was putting everyone else, I was doing everything. And then, like I felt guilty if I wanted to get
Mm-hmm.
my hair done. I thought, why am I feeling guilty for wanting to get my hair dyed, once every 4 years? Um, because I would always justify, like, well, that's money that we could spend on getting new shoes for the kids or something else. And when I understood that money was energy, money changed in our world, like in our household. So many things changed, and it was a beautiful thing. But going back to self-care, like I now make that a priority, and I am such a better person to myself. I'm a better wife, I'm a better mom, because I'm not in that stressed out state, or I'm not in
Mm-hmm.
that state of just doing, 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 doing until I go to bed, and then, like I've said, eat, sleep, repeat.
Yeah.
And I don't think a lot of people, or especially a lot of women, understand their relationship with themselves.
Yeah.
And, depending on where you are in your life, what you're going through, you can still absolutely love yourself. Ignore the outside external circumstances, like being in a fertility world. Love your body. Your body is this beautiful thing. It can create life. And
Mm-hmm.
it can do all of these things.
Yeah.
You are breathing unconsciously. Like, we don't have to think about breathing. We don't have to think about blinking. We don't have to think about walking. We just walk, or we just drive, or we do whatever it is that we do. But I think we are, I had a wonderful conversation with a woman, and we talked about periods. And as a woman, I've always hated my period. And she allowed me through a conversation to understand, like, a period's actually a really cool thing. And
Yeah.
it's our body, but society and different thing teaches us, like, don't love your body. If you're not, the perfect model size, then there's something wrong with you.
Mm-hmm.
And, I coach my clients on, love your body. And they're like, I can't,
Yeah.
I'm not getting
Yeah.
pregnant. And I said, but you can love your body. And there's many forms of loving your body, whether you choose to do it through nutrition or exercise, or standing in front of the mirror and just looking at yourself and telling yourself how beautiful you are. Because
Mm.
my God, we are all beautiful human beings. And I don't believe in a judgment world of looking at someone. If they choose to dress different, great. Go for it. Like, rock yourself. Like,
Mm.
feel amazing. If that puts you in a great mood, go do it. Like, society can't tell me I have to wear this to feel good, or I have to be this size to feel good. And I think that was it for a really long time for me.
Mm.
Was, I am not overweight by any means, but my body changed after having children
Yeah.
and fertility treatments and
Course.
things like
Mm.
that. And, I made it a point of not getting my body back. I just got
Mm.
it to a point of, yes, I still feel uncomfortable in some clothes. And I think, oh, well, I definitely don't look like I did when
Yeah.
I was in college. I definitely, but I think, but my body has housed 3 babies. It has supported me through 2
Mm.
very different fertility journeys. And I choose to love my body the way it is. and it's performing better than it has in my teenage years
Yeah.
because I chose to love my body. I chose to
Mhm.
love myself. And when I made that connection of loving my body, I chose, I stopped eating some of the things that I wanted just because I thought, I don't need this. I don't want this
Yes.
anymore because I love my body. And, and I teach my clients the same about really just loving your body, really loving you. And how do you handle contrast? How do you handle the undesirable situations? And how can you reset yourself as fast as possible, but still also accept the emotions that are going on, feel them, and, move past them. Don't let yourself stay stuck. Allow yourself to be, okay, you know what? This might be a really crappy situation, but how can I find the light in it? How can I let this go? And how can I know that, you know what? Everything does pass. Even though it might seem like it goes on for months or years, everything does pass. And find the ways that you can connect and find the ways that you can move through it, whether it's moving your body. For me, I started exercising and yeah, for me, it just
Mhm.
exercise was just that one thing where I got to release endorphins. It was 15 to 45 minutes, whatever workout length I chose, that I was not a mom. I was not, you know, all my hats that I wear, I was just me moving my body and pushing it to its limits. And that was kind of exciting, being like, how far can I push my body today in a healthy way? Um, and I fell in love with different things that my body could do. And I was in the middle of fertility treatments, but I thought, you know what? I get to do this. This is really
Yeah.
fun. And it was just a way that I didn't have to stay stuck of, you know what? I have to take so many injections today or blah, 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 blah.
Mhm.
And it was just a really good way of connecting with me and
Mhm.
doing something that I love. And it wasn't selfish because the coolest thing is I was working out at home in my living room around my twins, and I had 1 pound weights, and my little daughter came beside me and she started like lifting weights beside me. I was like, oh my gosh, this is so sweet. And she's like, Mommy, can you buy me workout clothes so I match you? And I was like, holy camole, like melt my heart.
Aw.
And, my son would do like he would try and do yoga poses with me. And I was like,
Aw,
the
yeah, so
cutest little things. And I just thought, like, this is something that I chose to do for me that now my kids look at and they're like, Mom, like, can we do a workout? I'm like, sure. The workout
yeah,
may not be perfect by any means or the intensity that I wanted, but this just created a memory. This just created a
yeah,
moment that was far better than I imagined than just doing a workout. The little people that I love just said, Hey, I'm like, okay, this is fun. And yeah, I feel like I could talk to you for hours about
same.
manifestation and the nervous system because I think it's powerful that I can contest for myself, but we don't hold our power. We give our power away.
Yeah,
And I think it's so important especially as women to
yeah,
know how incredibly powerful we are and that we can bring our power back. We can be the superheroes that we want to
yeah,
be. And we can have all the things that we want to have. And I think that, and you can still be an amazing mom and have all the things that you want to have
totally.
too. And yeah, I think it's a good note to leave it on of just
Yeah,
honestly just we have so much power and we don't give ourselves credit. And society has deemed us differently because we have periods, we've got hormones, we've got emotions. Men have hormones too. So
yeah, absolutely.
and society doesn't talk about that. And I
Yeah.
think I don't want to go on a whole rant of society, but I really want to just like you empower women to know that you hold so much power within yourself. And when you connect with yourself and you connect with your
Mhm.
desires, you are already in a far better state to accept fertility treatments or accept a baby or, than just doing the motions of getting up, doing this, doing that, eat, sleep, repeat. And, Einstein's version of insanity, his definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. But I truly believe a lot of people don't take the time to think about their goals or their dreams, or it's this focus of when I have a baby, then I can, or when I retire, then I can, or when I have money, then I can. Because like I've said, I've had many conversations with women who have, said, I've had so many miscarriages, or I've had so many procedures. You know what? This is now just it's getting too expensive. It's too much time. I guess I'm just not to be a parent. And years later, I still have conversations with them. I'm like, how you doing? And they're like, I'm living my life. I'm like, okay. And I don't like to pry. I tell people, like, I'm an open book. I will ask you, I will push you to your comfortable limits, but I'm not going to push you to limits that you're not going to want to go to. You have to want to go there. But, 5 years later, people are just like, I would still love to have a baby, but I'm now, I'm 39 or I'm 40, so I'm past my baby years. And I guess I'm just going to be, a wife or a partner, or if there's a blended family, a stepmom, or what, I just get to be a free bird and I get to travel in my retired years. And I talk to them, I'm like, you're even talking about retired years, but what about right now? And some people are open to the conversation, some people are not. And I tell them that is okay. When I am a vibrational match to you, you'll find me. When I'm not, I'm still always here, and I'll send you love from a distance. I'll always hold space from you. But stop giving up on yourself. Stop giving up on yourself, because you are meant to have the things. Stop wishing it away. Stop waiting for later. Just do it now. And yeah, so bring back your power and stop giving it away. And yeah, you'll start living life through, a different perspective.
Yeah, beautifully said. And it's totally true, bring back your own, tune back into your own power. And you can do that by just tuning into, your nervous system, your mindset, and step out of the narrative that we are like got conditioned to, and, question everything.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you so much for being here with me today. I think
Thank you, Jessica.
It's been such a fun conversation.
Totally.
And I love having these candid conversations where we're talking and just sharing the nuggets, just, opening people's eyes if we can, and just let them know that there is such a different environment that they can be living in. And even if, their circumstances remain the same, you can change your environment. And when you change your environment, everything else changes around you too. So, listeners, look at the show notes to find contact for Martina, and how you want to, if you want to connect with her, if you want to reach out with her, I'll have that all in the show notes for you. And I hope you have a truly amazing, amazing day.
If you found this helpful or know anyone that needs to hear this, please share. And don't forget to leave a review and subscribe. In love and gratitude, Jessica.